Tonight on Y News. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Salvador Panelo plans to take public transport again, despite a nearly 4-hour trip to the palace. Over 90 local government units underperformed in the road clearing operations in their respective areas of jurisdiction based on the DILG's audit report. A UNTV exclusive. Batucabe slay case witness Emmanuelle Jadhav feels bad towards the Philippine National Police over a missing portion of the reward money. An improvised explosive device exploded inside the maximum compound of the New Bilibid prison this morning. And Moira De La Torre bags major awards at the 2019 AWIT Awards. Good evening. Presidential spokesperson and Chief Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo acted on the challenge posed by militant groups for him to commute as an ordinary passenger on his way to work. But the militant groups are not satisfied after his morning commute today. Some commuters, on the other hand, think the palace official must take public transport more often. Here's why from Grace Casin.
Secretary Salvador Panelo sent photos to the media while riding a jeepney early in the morning. He refused to tell media about his whereabouts. But the netizens took the time to post photos of the palace official on social media while he was waiting for a jeepney ride. Bagong alyansang makabayan Secretary General Renato Reyes, one of those who challenged Panelo, also took public transportation today. At 5 in the morning, he was waiting at the LRT2 Santolan station and waited in the line for a free bus ride. He got on one of the buses and arrived in Cubao after about 15 minutes. Before 8 a.m., media personnel spotted Panelo riding a jeepney going to Quiapo Stop and Shop. But Panelo and Reyes were unable to meet in Cubao. Though Panelo was sweating, he said he had a good trip.
Ano mo ang the same? Laking kali ako. Pinagkalaki ako ng jeep, bus, tricycle.
But one of the passengers on the jeepney that Panelo rode was pissed off.
Hindi lang siyang pasahero dito nang dahil sa kanya, umito yung jeep. Nagmamadali kami, may klase din kami.
Secretary Panelo got off the jeepney at Gilmore LRT2 station and rode another jeepney going to Quiapo area. When he arrived at the Malacañang entrance gate, he tried to ride a tricycle, but it did not work. So he asked a motorcycle rider to transport him to the palace. Renato Reyes said he is not convinced with what Panelo did.
Baliwala lahat yun eh. Pa-effect lahat yun. Ang punto dito, magkaroon ng empathy, malasakit, at kilalanin na malala ang problema. It is a mass transport crisis.
Kaya ako lang tinanggap yung hapon nila kasi sila parang pinapakita nila na kaming mga nasa pwesto ngayon. Hindi kami pwedeng gawin ang ginagawa ng ginagawa tao. Galing nga kami doon eh.
But for some passengers, a one-day commute challenge is not enough to feel the struggles of ordinary people who take public transportation daily. They asked Secretary Panelo to commute more often.
Dapat talaga yun yung maranasan yung mga isang taon, no? Let's say mga limang buwan kasi napag-commute kasi isang araw parang ano ka lang nun eh, parang tinesting mo lang, isang beses ka lang nahirapan, ginawa ka na sa susunod.
Dapat ma-experience niya yung the whole week kasi yung whole week yun may iba't ibang klase ng struggle eh.
Araw-araw para maranasan niya lahat ng hirap.
Dapat mga 1 month para malaman niya na mahirap talaga mag-commute.
Dapat tabang buhay siyang mag-commute.
Hanggang kailan kung gusto niya, parang nahirapan man siya.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Presidential spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary Salvador Panelo proved today it's no problem for him to take public transport. Secretary Panelo also maintains there is no transport crisis, rather a traffic crisis. Rosa Licos explains why.
A
took Secretary Salvador Panelo almost 4 hours to complete his commute challenge to work, taking public transport this morning. He departed from Marikina City at 5:15 a.m. and reached the gate of Malacañang in Jose P. Laurel Street in Manila at past 8:30 a.m. He made a round trip on board a jeepney from New Manila to Cubao, another from Cubao to Concepcion, Marikina, and a fourth jeepney from Marikina to Cubao, where media personnel caught up with him. According to the official, there's no problem for him to take public transport again. But when asked if he would take an LRT trip in the future,
does it mean, sir, na magko-commute ka ulit to check on the situation of LRT?
Secret. Kasi pag magsabi ka na naman ng yes, ay nako, problema ka na.
according to the Malacañang official, whether one is a commuter who takes a public utility vehicle or one who uses a private vehicle to reach their destination, everyone suffers because of the massive traffic woes in Metro Manila. He says Filipinos are able to address our problems by adapting to the situation, such as heavy traffic.
Tayo mga Pilipino are very creative. Malikain tayo eh. May problema tayo, hindi tayo naggangangawa na papabayaan natin na lamunin tayo ng problema.
Just like the president, for him, the real resolution to the traffic problems is massive infrastructure development through emergency powers, which have been denied by the Congress.
Tama yung iniisip ni Presidente. Ang problema kasi sa atin, yung infrastructure natin. We're 20 years behind. So that's why yung kanyang build, yun ang solusyon doon eh. Kailangan mong i-widen ang roads, kailangan may mga bago kang rota, kailangan may mga skyways ka, kailangan yung mga bridges mo na mga single lang ang lane, kailangan i-expand mo. Infrastructure talaga ang solusyon. Plus, at the same time, yung number of cars, siguro dapat i-retiro natin yung mga matatanda para nababawasan. Malaki talaga ang problema, but the president is doing something about it. Even if he was deprived of the requested emergency powers.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government is content with the result of a clearing operation project conducted by the local government units nationwide. But almost 100 LGUs failed the department's audit. Ray Pelayo reports why.
Most of the LGUs complied with the standards of the clearing operations set by the Department of the Interior and Local Government on primary and secondary roads in their respective areas. Secretary Eduardo Año says around 80% of their target has been achieved. A total of 1,148 LGUs have been validated and found to have complied. 97 local governments failed, while 388 are still under validation. Those who failed will be sent a show cause order before the DILG takes action, which may result in the suspension of local government officials.
Yung sinasabi natin na their best is not good enough.
All LGUs in Metro Manila complied, but Quezon City, Pasig, and Muntinlupa were rated with medium compliance. Taguig got a low compliance rate, but it will be revalidated. Almost 7,000 roads have been cleared nationwide, of which 612 are in Metro Manila.
Huwag natin gawing ninaskugon ang kampanyang ito.
80 barangays in Metro Manila will be the first batch to receive a show cause order. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Skyway Operations and Management Corporation, or SOMCO, at the moment will not proceed with the implementation of the window hours policy on trucks that use SLEX and Star Toll Plaza. Joanano tells us why.
SOMCO had earlier announced it will limit trucks on the South Luzon Expressway, or SLEX. This is to alleviate traffic congestion during peak hours, which is due to the construction of Skyway Extension Project.
May mga truckers who have been asking reconsideration for yung signages namin kasi there are trucks coming from the south that actually do not reach Alabang Viaduct. And i-refine lang namin siguro nung yung mga signages namin doon sa mga toll plazas namin.
The implementation of window hours for trucks is supposed to be from 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. and 9:30 p.m. to 4 o'clock a.m. for those plying in SLEX, while window hours will apply at the Star Toll Plaza from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. to 3 a.m. SOMCO explains they need to look further into those window hours policy first and consider those who will be affected by the scheme. Meanwhile, the Toll Regulatory Board or TRB will look into the proposed reduction or suspension of SLEX toll. Several lawmakers want to reduce or suspend the payment of toll since motorists suffer from intense traffic despite the use of an expressway.
Naipaabot na po natin yan sa management ng ating project concessionaire. At ganun din po siguro sila, tinitignan nila kung anong magiging posibilidad tungkol dyan sa paano lang magkaroon muna ng toll fee reduction or suspension dito sa SLEX.
SOMCO is fast-tracking the completion of the northbound of the Alabang Viaduct, which is just a portion of the Skyway extension project. It is expected to be finished next month. But the completion of the entire Skyway project is seen in the last quarter of 2020. According to the Skyway management, traffic situation in NLEX is getting back to normal. This is since the implementation of the one-way traffic scheme on the East Service Road. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
Do you feel that your time is wasted when you're stuck in the middle of heavy traffic and start to look at your clock, count the minutes, and get impatient, especially when you think you're going to run late? Well, Aiko Miguel has some tips on how to be productive even when stuck in traffic. Let's watch this.
You sometimes lose your temper. Your day seems to be ruined. This is the feeling when all vehicles on the road are not moving an inch. To counter the boredom and to not waste precious time doing nothing, here are some pieces of advice on how to be productive when stuck in heavy traffic. Bring a reading material like a textbook to prepare for the class ahead, or an informative magazine, or maybe open your Omega Digi Bible app. Definitely your mood will instantly change as you read Bible verses silently. If you haven't downloaded the app, now it's time to do that. Reach out to, befriend, or ask the condition of someone you haven't talked to or seen for a while. This is a very good way to distress.
Alam mo, friend, makipagbati ka na sa kanya. Nagdadrama sa FB.
You know what? Napakagaling mo yan. Sige, chat mo siya.
Chat mo na.
Make a to-do list to plan your day. Though you're in the middle of bumper-to-bumper traffic, at least you have planned what to do during the hours to come.
Friend, anong ginagawa mo?
Girl, ginagawa ko ang aking to-do list.
Bakit?
Siyempre, alam kong traffic tayo mamaya ay mga ngarag-ngarag. At least may guide tayo, di ba?
Tara na, bilisan mo na. Matatraffic talaga tayo.
Okay. Let's go.
Why not observe traffic problems and think of solutions? Remember that necessity is the mother of invention. And instead of posting complaints on social media, it's better to let authorities know about the issue. Reach out to a public official or the concerned government agency.
Guys, nakakagigil na itong heavy traffic ha. Ma-post na sa social media.
Ano ka ba? Huwag mo na i-post. Dapat diretso na sa otoridad para may solusyon agad.
Kasi naman, girl, napaka-traffic din sa Philippines. Like, girl.
Oo nga, girl, ang init.
And who would know? Getting stuck in traffic might even pave the way for you to meet the one. If you are a man, offer your seat to an elderly person or to a lady. You may never know that through your kindness and by being a gentleman, you could finally meet the one.
Miss, dito ka na lang.
If you're a lady and you're seated, why not offer to carry the bag of someone standing to at least give a bit of comfort during their commute? Remember, kindness adds to beauty. Instead of aggravating a difficult situation such as the monster traffic, let's help lighten one another's burden. Instead of being impatient, choose kindness. Instead of being idle, choose productivity. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. A UNTV exclusive Batocabe slay case witness Emmanuelle Jadhav feels bad towards the Philippine National Police over a missing portion of reward money. The Department of Justice will assess if Emmanuelle Jadhav qualifies for the Witness Protection Program. An improvised explosive device exploded inside the maximum compound of the New Bilibid prison this morning. Central Visayas Police Chief Brigadier General Debold Sinas named as the next Metro Manila Police Chief. And Isitano Recto reopens today after a 2-day closure. Good evening. Emmanuelle Jadhav, a witness to the Batocabe slay case, feels bad toward the Philippine National Police because of the other portion of the reward money he is supposed to get. Jadhav says his and his family's lives are now in danger because of his testimonies against former Daraga Mayor Carlwin Baldo. Leia Ilagan has more details, exclusive.
Nung pinatawag kami doon sa Malacañang, talagang binibiro na nila ako na baka makalimutan mo kami. Pero sa ngayon, sa kanila dumaan ang pera. Kahit, "Hoy, Jude, kumusta ka?" Wala na.
These are the sentiments of Emmanuelle Jadhav towards the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Groups, which he shared to UNTV News. Jadhav says he has gambled his life and his family's security in testifying against former Daraga Mayor Carlwin Baldo, the alleged mastermind in a killing of Ako Bicol Party List Representative Rodel Batocabe and his police escort last December. The witness insists he received 6 million pesos only of the 35 million peso reward money. And what's awful, he says, is that the PNP have not contacted him anymore for the remaining reward money. Jadhav adds he is no longer questioning the 4 million pesos allegedly given to the 4 suspects.
Kung totoong binigyan sila, okay po yun sa akin. Kasi para sa akin, yung ibinigay sa kanila, mapupunta yun sa pamilya nila. Kasi yung mga pamilya nila, may mga anak naman sila, para magamit din sa pangkabuhayan ng pamilya niya. Pero yung mga suspect na yan, pagdusahan nila yan, ginawa nila yan
Jadhav is no longer hoping to get the remaining 25 million pesos after an intelligence group officer told him that the CIDG got their part of the reward money.
Ang sabi ni Sir Langkawon, binigyan daw yung CIDG. Magkano? Hindi ko po alam kung magkano.
But PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Bernard Panac says the operating unit cannot take part in the reward money because it's solely for the witness.
Dahil mandato po ng PNP ang mag-imbestiga at tugisin ang mga dapat mapanagot sa batas. So hindi kabilang ang PNP riyan sa reward money. Ito ay talagang para sa mga informante.
Jadhav says he needs only a small amount of that money for his family and for the hospitalization of his sick mother in their province.
Diyan tungkol kasi sa reward money na yan, ma'am, hindi ako naghahabol dyan sa napakalaki na yan. Ang hinahangad ko lang dyan, may establish ko na maayos ang pamilya ko. Okay na ako doon. Pero dyan kasi sa ginawa nila, humingi na ako sa kanila ng tulong. Natulungan nila ako makapag-establish. Masama ang loob ko talaga sa kanila. Sa humahawak ng pera na yan.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Department of Justice will leave the investigation on the alleged Ago reward money incident to Congress. The DOJ will also first assess the application of Emmanuelle Jadhav, the Batocabe slay case witness who sought help from UNTV, if he is qualified to undergo the government's Witness Protection Program. Nel Maribohok explains why.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says they have to evaluate Emmanuelle Jadhav's Witness Protection Program or WPP application first. Yesterday, UNTV turned him over to the National Bureau of Investigation's custody. Under the WPP, a witness will get enough security and assistance from the government in exchange for his knowledge in an incident or crime. In Jadhavar's case, the information he has regarding the reward money for being a witness in the Batucabe slay case. The Justice Secretary adds they will let the House of Representatives probe into the disbursement of the 35 million peso reward money, for which a resolution has been filed in the lower house. Part of the reward money came from congressmen, but they don't know who benefited from it. Of the 35 million pesos, Jadhavar said he received only 6 million pesos. Malacañang, for its part, has agreed to probe the allegation of corruption of the reward money in the Batucabe slay case.
Pag may official complaint, imbestigahan natin.
Sa Kongreso po ay naghain na po ng resolusyon para po imbestigahan po
Yun
ito.
pala, kung iimbestigahan nila, mas lalo magaling.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue.
An improvised explosive device exploded inside the maximum compound of the New Bilibid prison this morning. The DOJ will launch an investigation on the incident. Sherwin Colobong tells us why.
The Philippine authorities clearing operations inside the New Bilibid prison maximum compound in Muntinlupa City continues, but an explosion rocked Quadrant 4 this morning. The K9 unit and the National Capital Region Police Office IED Division immediately responded to the incident. Based on their initial investigation, an improvised explosive device or IED blew up. 2 grenades and 2 blasting caps were also discovered inside the hovel.
Meron po sumabog dyan, sir. Nung sumabog, nag-alisan na ho kami. Mutikan ho kami, nandun ho kami sa kabilang kanto. Pagsabog, bigla ho lang pinalis. Tinawag po namin yung mga SWAT. Yan namin sa kanila na may sumabog.
Authorities also discovered that some members of different rebel groups were in the area where the explosion happened. Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag says it is possible the rebels teach bomb making to inmates.
Siguro gusto tayong takutin. Maaring kasi may mga bali-balita kasi, may intelligence report na itong mga extremist na ito nagtuturo kung paano gumawa ng bomba.
However, Bantag is not threatened.
Gusto ko yan napasalubong kasi may gusto ko yung tumuputok pag bagong taon eh. Ito, patay kong patay na ito. Tinanggap ko itong position na ito at prinogram ko na ang sarili ko na ito, patay kong patay.
Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara wants to launch an investigation on the incident. He orders the Bucor Chief to submit a written report and to initiate the investigation together with the Philippine National Police. Secretary Guevara says the explosion is an indication of how serious the security problem is inside the New Bilibid prison. Sherwin Colobong, UNTV News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
The National Capital Region Police Office Chief is known to be strict. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banak says the promoted police official was a disciplinarian when he sat as the secretary to the directorial staff in the PNP National Headquarters. Leia Ilagan details why.
Newly installed NCRPO Chief Police Brigadier General DILG Sinas is a product of PMA Hinirang Class of 1987. He became a secretary to the directorial staff in Camp Crame before he led the PNP Crime Laboratory. He had been the director of Police Regional Office 7 or Central Visayas from June 2018. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banak says he knows Sinas as a disciplinarian.
Si Police Brigadier General DILG Sinas ay napiling bilang Regional Director ng NCRPO batay sa kanyang performance, merito at yung kanyang overall performance.
Banak adds Sinas has been chosen for the position because of his excellence in the service.
Si General Sinas ang siyang nagsulong ng napakahigpit na disiplina dito sa National Headquarters sa Camp Crame. Lahat ng mga paggalaw-galaw dyan sa parada, sa formation ay may kaukulang parusa at bawal yung pakalat-kalat, bawal yung mga patapon-tapon ng basura So, maging yung pagpasok ng mga sasakyan, no, dito sa kampo ay napakahigpit din.
Sinas replaces Police Major General Guillermo Eleazar, who has been promoted as the Chief Directorial Staff or the number 4 man in the PNP. Police Lieutenant General Camilo Cascolan has also been promoted as the Deputy Chief for Operations. Police Lieutenant General Archie Gamboa will be the Deputy Chief for Administration or the number 2 man of the PNP. The reshuffles in the top brass of the PNP is due to the retirement of Deputy Chief for Administration, Lieutenant General Fernando Mendez today. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Noel Clement believes the insurgency problem in the country will end during President Rodrigo Duterte's term. Dante Amendo will tell us why.
The AFP Southern Luzon Command continued their community support program to bring basic services in areas not easily reached by the government. Their support program includes medical missions and livelihood and developmental projects like the construction of irrigation structures, roads, and schools.
Kami ang tumutulong ngayon, sumusuporta sa mga LGUs natin, sa DepEd, DOH, DAR, DA, yung iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, kahit DSWD, upang itong programa nila mapaabot natin sa liblib na lugar.
AFP Chief of Staff General Clement also stressed such efforts are progressive.
Kung iaasa lang natin sa ating kasundaluan ang solusyon dito, kahit baka abutin tayo ng 3 o 10 presidente pa, hindi pa natin matapos ito.
Clement also believes this would help end insurgency in the country.
Mamimit natin yung ating objective, which is to end the insurgency problem before the President steps down from office.
Meanwhile, the legal process to bring back CPP, NPA, and DF leader Joe Masison, who is now in Netherlands, continues.
He is there in exile and dadaanan natin sa legal na proseso kung paano natin siya mapapauwi dito to face the charges na nakafile against him.
Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue.
MWSS clarifies that Manila and Manila Water will not increase their water rates. This comes after news of such increase. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
There will be no 26 pesos per cubic meter rate increase in the price of water. This is despite the 921 million peso fine imposed by the Supreme Court on Manila and Manila Water. The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System, or MWSS, says the penalty resulted from the water concessionaire's violation of environmental laws, particularly the Clean Water Act. This is also something that Manila and Manila Water must not pass on to their customers in whatever form or manner based on their agreement with the MWSS.
We also audit them, and we also engage a third-party audit firm to audit the books of the concessionaires to ensure that they will not be able to recover this expense.
The MWSS further explains, should there be any water rate hike that may be caused by the construction of new structures and improvements on sewage treatment plants to be implemented by the water concessionaires in their bid to follow the law. But according to the MWSS chief regulator, in case of such rate increase, they won't let the water concessionaires impose it on customers abruptly. Instead, it may be done in tranches so the public won't feel much of the burden.
We can also do an expiration payment. So that means the 2 concessionaires will be able to recover the said expense at the end of their concession term instead of having it increase, the sudden increase in the water rates.
Water concessionaires must submit a request to their office by the year 2022 should they want to increase their rate. Once checked and allowed by the MWSS, the approved water rate increase will be implemented by 2023.
Pag hindi po to prudent and efficient, hindi po natin to papayagan na ipasa sa publiko.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Amid the mass transport crisis issue, how hard is it for students and workers who commute in the metro all the way from neighboring provinces using public transportation? Arlene Delgado has the story.
A government official has recently advised if you want to get to your destination early, travel early. Seems like a sound advice to me, as we all experience difficulties in getting a ride and running late. In my case, this is my usual routine when going home from our office in Caloocan City to Cavite. From Balintawak, I have to take a bus going to MRT Line 3 to reach EDSA Shaw Boulevard. I opt to take the train to avoid heavy EDSA traffic. From EDSA Shaw Boulevard, I have to take a bus going to Dasmariñas City, Cavite. It usually takes 15 to 30 minutes just to wait for a Cavite-bound bus, but on Fridays, it takes over an hour. I'd be fortunate to even get a seat. Departing from Caloocan at 8:26 in the evening, I arrived at our subdivision in Cavite at exactly midnight. In total, I used over 4 hours of my day going home from Caloocan to Cavite.
Most of the time, ganong 3 to 4 hours talaga. Medyo maaga pa nga ito kung tutuusin dahil maaga tayo nakasakay ng bus doon sa may Shaw Boulevard.
The next morning, another battle begins. With me are lots of people waiting at the bus stop to get a ride to Pasay MRT. Every day, hoping to get a seat. Once I get to Pasay, my next mode of transpo is LRT Line 1 from EDSA Station to Balintawak Station.
So, nandito na tayo ngayon sa LRT Line 1, EDSA Station. Pipila na tayo. Medyo hindi ganun karami yung tao ngayon.
After reaching Balintawak Station, I have to ride a jeepney to reach the office. After a 3.5-hour trip, I finally arrived.
Hi, Kuya!
In my head, if only our lawmakers commute every day to their offices using public transport, we may arrive at better solutions to the country's mass transportation system and traffic problems. I'm just one of the hundreds of thousands of strap hangers who would like to hear challenge accepted, solutions expected. Arlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue.
Davao City strictly imposes the no smoking policy, but the city government's bid to curb smoking does not end here. Hazel Ferzas will tell us why.
Davao City's Vice Regulation Unit, or VRU, encourages smokers to discontinue their vices. The city government offers the so-called nicotine replacement therapy, a kind of treatment for nicotine dependence. Based on VRU's study, counseling is not enough. VRU says the success rate of counseling is as small as 4.5%.
One of the products that we are trying to introduce right now is the use of nicotine pastilles as part of the nicotine replacement therapy that will be provided for those smokers who want to quit.
Davao City is the first city in the country to facilitate the implementation of nicotine replacement therapy. The program is voluntary since there is still no existing ordinance or law that orders all nicotine dependents to submit themselves to NRT. Hazel Ferzas, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
The Department of Health has signed the implementing rules and regulations of the Universal Healthcare Law, but it says the implementation of the law will be gradual because of an issue on budget. Nina Armilio tells us why.
Various health sectors witnessed the signing of the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IIR, of the Universal Healthcare Law. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III was among those who signed it. The implementation of the IIR will begin after it gets published in the National Gazette and newspapers. Under the new law, all Filipinos will automatically become a PhilHealth member. Direct or indirect PhilHealth contributors will also benefit from the no-balance billing if they are admitted in basic or ward accommodations of a hospital. For the first year of the implementation of the new law, a 257 billion pesos worth of budget is needed, but only 167 billion pesos has been allocated for now. In 2020, they will need at least 1 trillion pesos.
2020 to 2024, that will be about 1.5 trillion pesos requirement to operationalize the Universal Healthcare Law.
Because of the universal healthcare law, an increase in the PhilHealth rates is expected.
Sa premiums naman, it increases by 0.25% a year. I think this year it's 2.75%. And
PhilHealth will also study some new benefits for those who regularly remit contributions, which will be different from the Universal Healthcare Act benefits. Nina Armelia, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
And to finally complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. 2 days ago, Mayor Isko Moreno padlocked Isetan Cinerama complex after his government found out violations incurred by the mall owner and operator. But it's back to business beginning today. Arlene Delgado explains why.
The Isetan Recto management has secured the appropriate permits to operate, including the lessor's permit and the cinema's permit. Because of this, the Bureau of Permits and Licensing Office lifts its closure order. The mall has settled their tax obligations worth 2 million pesos from the original 4 million pesos after availing of the government's tax amnesty program. Tenant employees and even mall goers were delighted by the reopening.
Happy kasi continuous ulit yung work namin. Masaya po kasi bumalik na yung trabaho namin. Kasi 2 days din po kami na natenga. Ay, masaya po kami kasi gusto mo lang pinakamalapit dito.
Dapat sundin na lang nila yung ni Mayor para hindi na maulit yung nakaraan.
Mabuti naman po kasi since yung Isetan po is one of the oldest mall din po sa Philippines, and tsaka dito rin po yung go-to na binibilan ng mga students sa mga school supplies nila.
However, the Manila government warns future violations may lead to revocation of permit.
Now, they learned their lesson. Now, yung mga tao doon may trabaho na sila ulit, pero hindi sila allowed magtinda ng mga illegal na panindahan.
In response, the shopping mall management has vowed to strictly prohibit the sale of second-hand cell phones. Arlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, a powerful storm approached Japan, threatening to batter its capital with the heaviest rain in 60 years. Kath Dumaraos tells us why.
People prepare for torrential rain and powerful wind on Thursday as a super typhoon Hagibis headed north over the Pacific towards Japan's main island. Typhoon Hagibis, which means speed in Tagalog language, is due to make landfall on the main island of Honshu on Saturday, a month after one of the strongest typhoons to hit Japan in recent years destroyed or damaged 30,000 houses and caused extensive power cuts. Yasushi Kajihara, Forecast Division Director at the Japan Meteorological Agency, said the storm could be the strongest to hit Tokyo since 1958, and people should also prepare for high waves and storm surge. Rugby World Cup organizers on Thursday canceled Saturday's game between England and France, as well as New Zealand's match against Italy due to the risk from the typhoon. Japanese Formula One Grand Prix organizers also canceled all practice and qualifying sessions scheduled for Saturday. Typhoon Hagibis is expected to pass over or get close to Tokyo and neighboring areas including Chiba Prefecture, which is still recovering from a devastating Typhoon Faxai that struck a month ago. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, through the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo, advised Filipinos in Japan to stay alert and regularly monitor news and announcements from the Japanese government and the JMA. The DFA also reminded Filipinos, especially in the greater Tokyo area, that train operations could be suspended, especially if the super typhoon does not change its forecast path. Thus, it is necessary for travelers to always check the latest information from airlines, train companies, and other public transportation companies to be able to prepare and act ahead of the possible disaster. Filipinos needing assistance may contact the embassy's hotline numbers. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
And for the news abroad, Hong Kong's Legislative Council held their first meeting on Friday since the July break-in by angry anti-extradition bill protesters, damaging equipment, smashing video screens with metal poles, and leaving a mess before police moved in. Pro-establishment and Democratic lawmakers shouted at each other before the start of the session, heightening tensions that have spiraled following 4 months of often violent pro-democracy protests in the Asian financial hub. Several demonstrators have been planned in districts across the former British colony on Friday and through the weekend, protesting against issues that include perceived police brutality. In other news, a protester lay on top of a plane while another forced a jet to turn around on the runway as climate change activists descended on London City Airport on Thursday, causing some disruption but ultimately failing to cancel flights. Jovic Burmas has the details.
Hundreds of protesters in the Extinction Rebellion movement waged a sit-in at the entrance of the small East London airport on Thursday. Protest organizers Extinction Rebellion had vowed to occupy the airport's terminal and shut down operations for 3 days as part of its action in the British capital. One James Brown, a partially blind former Paralympic cyclist, clambered atop a British Airways plane after buying a ticket for the flight, halting its departure.
The average salary of people who fly out of here is over £100,000 a year. And the people who live locally only benefit through the pollution. And of course that's an irony in itself.
Brown was eventually removed. Metropolitan Police Commissioner Dame Cressida Dick described the action as reckless, stupid and dangerous. A second ticket-holding protester boarded an Aer Lingus flight, then refused to sit and calmly spoke out about climate change risks. Both were arrested and removed. Extinction Rebellion organizers said the protest had caused major disruption but had not shut down the airport as they had hoped. London's Metropolitan Police on their website called the airport protest wholly unacceptable and irresponsible. They noted that more than 840 people had been arrested in 4 days of Extinction Rebellion protests across the capital this week. The group said they were protesting plans to expand the airport, which aims to have 6.5 million passengers a year by 2022 compared to the 4.8 million in 2018, and which has said there could be demand for as many as 11 million a year by 2035. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
Indonesia's security minister has been stabbed by a man who police say was inspired by the Islamic State group. Meanwhile, a highway bridge collapsed in Jiangsu province in eastern China, trapping cars underneath the rubble. Judith Ann Fuente details why.
In China, 3 people have been confirmed dead after an overpass collapsed onto traffic in Wuxi City of East China's Jiangsu province on Thursday evening. 2 other people were injured from the accident, which occurred on a busy road. According to reports, the collapsing overpass trapped 3 cars underneath. One of them was empty and the other were carrying 3 people, all of whom were killed in the incident. An investigation into the accident is underway. According to local authorities, an overloaded lorry might have brought down the bridge. In Indonesia, Indonesia's chief security minister was stabbed on Thursday by a man authorities suspect had been radicalized by Islamic State ideology. Video footage showed Minister Wiranto slumping to the ground beside his car after the attack. The minister had suffered 2 wounds to his stomach. A police officer and 2 other people were injured, while 2 suspects, a man and a woman, were arrested. President Joko Widodo said that security had to be improved and the network behind the attack dismantled. In the USA, the Texas man accused of deliberately targeting Mexicans in a shooting spree that killed 22 people at an El Paso Walmart store pleaded not guilty on Thursday in his first court appearance. Patrick Crusius, 21, was indicted last month for capital murder and will face the death penalty if he is convicted. Meanwhile, a wildfire that erupted in Southern California on Thursday destroyed structures at a Riverside County mobile home park where numerous medical emergencies were reported. The Sandalwood Fire was one of several wildfires burning across California, fueled by dry, gusty winds that prompted Pacific Gas and Electric Co. shut off powers to some 600,000 customers. The blaze had charred more than 500 acres and was 0% contained. Mandatory evacuation orders were issued for residents near the mobile home park. Judith Anafuente, UNTV News and Rescue.
In UNTV Cup Season 8, PhilHealth and GSIS are in a must-win situation at this point. It's sixth game day in the first round elimination on Sunday. Meanwhile, Judiciary and the NHA face each other in battle for a second win. Victor Cosare reports why.
Paling naman walang tuklat yung scoring para sa Judiciary. Nice pass. Nice pass. The runner.
The GSIS Furies will attempt to take down Malacañang PSC's wall-like defense to keep their campaign going this season of the League of Public Servants. Heading towards Sunday's first ball game, GSIS has a 0-2 win-loss record, while Camao has 2-0. Both teams have 3 more games remaining. See them battle play-by-play in Pasig City Sports Center at 2 p.m. PhilHealth is in the same situation as GSIS with no games won so far in the first round elimination after 2 matches, while the Graftbusters won 1 game against SSS on September 15. PhilHealth will meet the Graftbusters big man tandem Bernson Franco and Samuel Ignacio and reinforcement player Edsel Del Rosario at 3:30 p.m.
Colombia drives. Wow, what a shot by Colombia.
And in the third game at 5 p.m., the Judiciary Magis and the NHA Builders vie for a second win. Both sides have 1 game won and 1 game lost.
Ang sabi ko lang sa mga players, kailangan natin manalo ngayon dahil pagka nadalawang sunod tayo, mahirap na tayo bumawi kasi 3 malalakas pa yung kalaban natin.
The Judiciary will still need to face the DENR and the PNP after Sunday's game against the NHA, while the Builder just came from a loss to the Camao team 2 weeks ago.
Kailangan namin manalo doon para pumasok kami sa taas. Yung team ko kasi ngayon nagkakaroon na ng camaraderie and teamwork, so medyo mas gumaganda yung takbuhan. Konting-konti na lang yung mga ina-adjust kung mali nila.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
17 lady scuba divers will vie for the title Miss Scuba Philippines 2019 next week. They are proud to represent their provinces from Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao and showcase not just their beauty and talents, but also the wonders of God's creations underwater. Nina Armilio details why.
They are the real charmers of the sea, Filipinas, who fight for an advocacy. They aim to raise awareness of the beauty of our oceans through scuba diving. These are the lovely candidates in the 3rd Miss Scuba Philippines Saving Oceans Through Beauty.
So the very reason why we had scuba diving in the pageant is for them to understand what is happening on our ocean, for them to have an heart for the ocean, and for them to understand this situation and to be a greater voice for something that cannot defend itself.
Cindy Maduma is Miss Scuba International 2015. She is the very first Filipina to win the crown. She is also the host of UNTV program The Dive, the first and only reality diving show in the Philippines, conceptualized by Kuya Daniel Razon, that brings us to eye-catching underwater scenery, amazing places, people, and world-class dive sites. with scuba diving training facilities in KDR Smallville in Bulacan and Morong Star Hotel and Resort in Panibatuhan, Morong, Bataan, accredited by the Professional Scuba Diving International or PSI. Each of the ocean ambassadors never failed to surprise your eyes with their dazzling beauty and care for our water resources.
It's actually a pageant that's not more about superficiality, but someone who has the heart for our ocean. We all know that we have a lot of issues going on with regards to ocean and on how to conserve it.
In fact, Miss Scuba Philippines 2018 candidate joined the International Coastal Cleanup in Subic Bay, Zambales, together with thousands of ocean-loving volunteers in the country. While this year's candidate will be busy tomorrow for the coastal cleanup in the Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area or La Papachea. Everyone's excited for the grand coronation night that happens on Tuesday. The lady to wear the Miss Scuba Philippines 2019 crown will represent the Philippines at the Miss Scuba International 2019 in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia.
So I am inviting everyone to please come on the coronation night of Miss Scuba Philippines 2019, Saving Oceans Through Beauty on October 15, 2019, 7 p.m. at the Music Museum.
Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Original Filipino music continues to thrive as the 32nd Awit Awards gives recognition to Filipino artists as well as the people behind making world-class Filipino music. Among the top winners is fast-rising singer-songwriter Moira de la Torre. Mirasol Abogadil has this report.
Moira de la Torre bagged a number of awards at the 2019 Awit Awards last night. The Olongapo native bagged 3 major awards. These are Album of the Year Award, Song of the Year Award, and Music Video of the Year Award for Tagpuan.
OPM is constantly evolving, and every single time it evolves, it brings a new flavor to the already great OPM scene.
The awardees also include Sara Geronimo, Janine Teñoso, and Juan Carlos. Late hip-hop legend Francis Magalona was honored this year with a special Dangal Award, received by his wife Pia and his sons Elmo and Arkin. The Magalona sons performed a medley of their father's songs. The Philippine Association of the Record Industry, or PARI, in partnership with Breakthrough and Milestones Production Incorporated, or BMPI, presented the longest-running music awards last night at the New Frontier Theater. BMPI talents The Wishfuls, Rhea Basco, Brads, and Plethora were presenters of the award.
The moments na nakikita namin, napapanood namin na ina-awardan yung mga artists na talagang sikat ngayon, na talagang tinatangkilik. Parang kami rin, nagkaroon kami ng hope and na-visualize namin na someday kami yung susunod na award on that stage.
Isa sa pinaka-inspire po sa amin yung gumawa ng magagandang kanta at maipakita po sa mga ibang mga artists na merong mga nasa hindi pa man totally sikat pero nagpipilit na maipakita yung mga talents nila.
Meanwhile, prominent music artists recognized innovations made by Wish 1075 to bring OPM songs to the global scene.
I think Wish 1075, you've brought a lot of us into the world scene. And because of, for me lang, I'll speak for myself, because of Wish 1075, may mga reaction videos na nakikita ko na hindi nila ako kilala, but they're starting to really want to get to know me, yung mga tao sa ibang lugar.
That's the perfect vehicle talaga for exposing, kasi ang exposure is not just online. The exposure is actually going to people and having the buzz and making people really be able to communicate with the talents.
The OPM artists say they will continue to write songs that will inspire music lovers in the country and around the globe. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
And before we close for the evening, the whole Y News family would like to greet our CEO, Kuya Daniel Razon, a very happy birthday. And those are the reasons behind the news this October 11, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Tayo mga Pilipino are very creative. Malikhain tayo eh. May problema tayo, hindi tayo naggangangawa na papabayaan natin na lamunin tayo ng problema.
Yung sinasabi natin na their best is not good enough.
Ang sabi ni Sir Langkahon, binigyan daw yung CIDG. Hindi ko po alam kung magkano.
Siguro gusto tayong takutin. Maaring kasi may mga bali-balita kasi, may intelligence report na itong mga extremist na ito nagtuturo kung paano gumawa ng bomba.
PM is constantly evolving, and every single time it evolves, it brings